Let me take you on a journey, on a trip, on a highway drive through the hills of Kumaon in India. Hello everyone, my name is Rajiv Chopra and I am from the Dusty Lens Chronicles. Early this year in April, a friend of mine and I went all the way up to Munsyari, and I'm going to clear my throat now. We started from Delhi NCR. I live in Gurgaon and he lives in Noida, so I drove up early morning, picked him up, and we drove. We originally had planned to rent out a Mahindra Thar, but at the last minute we decided to hire a driver, which was not bad because our good fellow was an extremely good driver. He was absolutely fantastic, and it made our life a bit more comfortable also, especially because as you move up the hills, the landscape and the roads change quite dramatically. We started at Bhawali, and from Bhawali, after spending a night in Bhawali, we drove to a place called Chaukori. And what you see in this part of the video is sections of the highway as we drive to Chaukori. Now, was using my GoPro Hero Black 11, and I was sitting in the front seat next to the driver for most of the journey, and I had the GoPro stuck to the windscreen, as it were, and we kept driving and driving and driving and driving. I'd like you to pay attention now to the trees, the absolutely beautiful trees of Kumaon. And the beauty of this place is that as you keep driving along the stretch, the landscape changes. Soon after Almora, we stopped at a chai stall, which you see in the distance. And unfortunately, as you can see, some people had chucked their empty bottles. We are a nation of litterbugs. And then we stopped at this absolutely fantastic chai stall. There was almost nothing to eat along the way, so we just contented ourselves with chai and with instant noodles. And here I am. The road was quite bumpy in parts, and it was an absolutely beautiful journey. The light is superb. Now, as you cross Almora, the landscape starts to change. Until Almora, you're almost like in the low plains or the low hills, as it were. And it took us almost an hour to cross the Kenchi Dham temple area. But once we crossed Kenchi Dham, everything opened up. It was like the time when I took a solo trip driving to, where was it? Chitrakoot and back. And from Delhi to Agra, it seemed as if I was in Delhi, but once I crossed Agra and started driving towards Jhansi, that highway opened up. And it's the same here. Once you cross Almora, everything changes. Everything becomes beautiful. The trees, the landscape, the drive, everything is absolutely beautiful. And I really hope that you enjoy this section of the journey. And I will stop talking now and let the video keep recording. And I will join you again later when we start to drive from Chaukori to Munsyari. And that's another beautiful stretch. This is actually on the way back. I just use it as a placeholder. a river stream. And once we crossed the river stream, it started to rain. And it rained. It was quite something driving along the roads in the rain. And, well, in this particular part, I'm returning to Munsyari from a dream. I think the sequencing of the video seemed to have gone a bit wacky, but it doesn't matter really. It was unusual that it rained so much in April. We were pretty cool all the way up to Munsyari, but from Munsyari, actually even no. Once we crossed Chakori, halfway through it started raining and the temperature dropped. I had just taken t-shirts. Luckily, I packed a fleece at the last moment, so I survived because the temperature had dropped to less than 0 degrees Celsius, which I honestly was not expecting. So you can see the rain pattering on the windscreen, and you can also see the valley on the right side of the screen. Look carefully, look very, very carefully. More rain, more rain, more rain. Now, once you crossed Chakori and start driving towards Munsyari, the nature of the mountains changes. It's what the driver calls a kacha pahad. And when he talks about a kacha pahad, what he essentially is saying is that you enter a landslide prone area. And that can be tricky because as you are driving along the mountains, you can see the manner in which the rainwater and the mountain streams have cut deep, jagged paths or flumes, as they are called, into the mountainside. It's really a kind of raw landscape. We had stopped at this place, this little restaurant, for lunch. It was pouring rain, and the egg curry was absolutely magnificent. I think I should link to this little hotel and restaurant in the description of this video, which is a beautiful little place. Absolutely bare, very basic place, but the food was absolutely fantastic, and they were fun. Driving to Munsyari from the river stream in the And now as you see how do I put it, the mountains move, you might just see or get a first glimpse of the Panchacholi mountains in the distance in the distance. What is so special about the Panchacholi mountains? Apart from the fact that they are absolutely beautiful, they say that it is here that the Pandavas had their last meal on earth before ascending to heaven. So the mountains haven't yet arrived on the screen. That's me in the side view mirror. Again, the beautiful winding, twisting roads. The winding, twisting roads of Kumaon, the beautiful open spaces. You can almost smell the freshness in the air despite the broken roads at parts. And again, the road keeps winding, and I'm waiting for the first sight of the snow-capped mountains. Where are they? I'm sure you are waiting for them as we were waiting for them. After Munsyari, we drove along to Dunagiri, and it rained all the time. It just kept raining along the way. It was one long rainy drive all the way to Dunagiri. And Dunagiri is quite beautiful in its own way. The hotel there was not bad. I climbed up to the hilltop one morning, and I was lucky because after that it rained again. And I climbed up to the hilltop. There was what the priest called, or the people called, the Sukha Devi temple. It's a little temple on the top of the hill, and I will talk about my conversation with the priest in the next video when I actually show you the landscape of this place. And I really hope you enjoy the landscape. Driving through the mountain villages is again a completely different and unique experience altogether, because the roads are narrow and the buildings and the houses just seem to be clumped together along the side. I quite enjoyed actually driving along these bridges. I find bridges absolutely fascinating, actually. And there's something about driving in the hills. I grew up in Nainital, actually, and I keep talking about that, but the rain in the hills have their own. After we left Dunagiri, we returned to Bhavali and we passed Ranikhet. I had gone to Ranikhet, goodness gracious me, about 34 years ago. I spent about 2 or 3 days in Ranikhet. And to be very honest, I very much prefer Ranikhet to Almora. I consider Almora to be just one crowded little place. But Ranikhet is fantastic. It's absolutely beautiful. There's a large army cantonment there. You can see the unique army, let's say, construction of the cantonment area in this video. And then we stopped for coffee at an old colonial style hotel. I think it's called the West View. And the West View is quite a nice hotel. It's really one of those things where, and there we are at the West View Hotel. It was raining, and for some reason, I did not take my umbrella out of the car. I just decided to run from the car to the restaurant lobby and to the restaurant actually. And there's something very old school about this. It's you have a waiter there who looks as if he's about 200 years old. It's absolutely charming, and you can quite imagine the British sitting there and sipping their coffee, sipping their tea, eating their sandwiches as they gazed over at the Command Hills, feeling happy and smug and all that. And then we left Ranikhet and we continued our journey towards Bhavali. And as you can see, it kept raining. It was one long, continuous drive in the rain for those few days. But it's a part of life. Once you're out in the hills, you just take life as it goes, and you just take a chill pill, as they say. On the way back, we decided to spend 2 nights in Bhavali, and we did nothing on the morning, but in the afternoon. No, actually, we left Bhavali for Nainital at around noon. The place we were staying was in the top of the hill, and getting to that little place can be quite a challenge. So if you're not a good driver, don't go to these places on the top of the hills. I want you to pay attention to this construction on the left and the construction on the right. They are making multi-story buildings in Bhavali, 6 to 7 story buildings, which I believe and I am convinced are just a complete and total environmental disaster in the making. The ecology of the hills is fragile. It is not something that you toy with or play with, because once you have any sort of tectonic movement of the plates, you have a disaster. And no matter what we might like to believe, we might like to believe that we humans are God. We might like to believe that we humans are God, but we humans are not gods. We are human, and we have all the frailties of humans. And that's something which we must always remember. I believe we must remember to have a little bit of humility. I believe that we must have respect for the environment and for each other, irrespective of the next person's wealth, caste, creed, religion, or skin color. And once you start to do that, maybe then you start to enjoy life as it were. And now we are approaching Nainital. The weather turned and became sunny. The absolutely brilliant thing about driving to Nainital is that as you approach the town from the Talital side, you will see my school on top of the hill, and you will even see the classroom where I joined, class 5. That's where I got caned for the first time in my life. Strange memories. Absolutely strange memories. Today, of course, Nainital is a town that has been completely messed up. Way too many tourists, irresponsible tourism. But if you strip away the irresponsible tourists, it's still an absolutely beautiful town. I still have a very deep and strong emotional attachment to the place. And why not? That's where I grew up and spent the most formative years of my life. That's the way that life goes sometimes, isn't it? We did stop for Bhutta, by the way. Not here, but when we were driving up to Bhavali the first day. And when I was in school, we used to walk from Nainital to Bhavali, which is about 7 to 8 kilometers. When I was in class 5, we would play a football match or a hockey match with the Sainik school, and then we'd walk back. But very few people walk these days. All of them want to drive everywhere, wherever they go, all the time. One of the sad things about Nainital is that the restaurants are terrible. They seem to cater to tourists who don't want to pay much at all or who don't care about quality. And that is a tragedy, because you can get some absolutely fantastic food if people want to do it. And here we are on the Mall Road. When you're on the Mall Road, you have to have a pre-booking. If you're there's the lake on the right side. You have to either park in the flats, or if you're going up there in the tourist season, you need to have a confirmed parking, otherwise you can't enter. But there is the absolutely beautiful lake, Naini Lake. I don't know how many people realize this, but Nainital is a Shakti Peeth. It is where Some people say the eye of Sati, some people say a teardrop of Sati. The nain or the eye fell to earth, forming the lake. So it is a Shakti Peeth, and there is a Naina Devi temple in the town. In fact, it's on the opposite side of the lake from the mall road, very close to the flats. All good things come to an end, and we finally had to leave the Kumaon Hills and return home. And as you start the journey down from Bhavali, passing Bhimtal, again the landscape changes, becomes more crowded. You start to see get a feel of the culture of the plains, and things change. I had actually wanted to go up to the Milam Glacier at Munsyari, but it was raining, and the local people there advised me not to go up to the Milam Glacier because they said that in the rain, the chance of a landslide was very high or extremely high. So I will be back at the Milam Glacier, not next year, maybe the year after next in November or December. And I will probably stay there for about 2 or 3 days. So that trip will be a very simple trip. Gurgaon to Bhavali, or Bhavali to Chakori, Chakori to Munsyari, 2 days or 3 days in Munsyari, 2 or 3 days at the Milam Glacier. Most likely 2 or 3 days at the Milam Glacier, and going to explore a few other places around the area before I return home. And my return journey will be probably via Kasoni and Binsar. So that will be a nice, very nice trip. And at this point we are approaching Kathgodam. And once you approach Kathgodam, then you are effectively in the plains. And once you are in the plains, it's as if you've left all the magic behind. And that's a bit of a tragedy because I'd like to always take a little bit of the magic of the Kumaon Hills with me. And there we are, back to the heat and back to the dust. That's the way that life goes. Well, I'm going to leave you with a few memories of the hills, and I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I will, in the next few weeks, make another video, but in that video I will focus on the landscape of the Kumaon Hills, what I saw in Bhavali, what I saw in Chakori, what I saw in Munsyari, what I saw in Dunagiri, and a little bit of what I saw in Nainital as well. So, goodbye for now. See you in the next video. I'm leaving you with just a few memories of the rugged landscape and the drive that we had. And give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and I do hope you like the video. Do subscribe to my channel and switch on the bell notification to get updates. So, see you next time. Subscribe for more. Ciao.